Dude, Luke, the printer's still busted, man. What the fuck?
How's it going, everybody? Welcome to episode 92 of the Topless Robot podcast. My name is Ryan.
I'm Tyler.
And I am, for always, in Brooks.
And it has been a week of Tyler's brush with death.
I almost died. It felt like I was dead. A week of sleep. I have not slept that much in since I had pneumonia when I was like 18 or 16 or something like that.
But fortunately, it wasn't the Rona. It was bronchitis.
Bronchitis still sucks.
Yeah.
Very similar, apparently.
I guess we were all bronchitis.
Moving along.
So what you did get tested for the Rona, though, and like what all happened? How was that whole process for you?
Hated it. It was awful. I went on Tuesday morning, and it was just the CVS drive-thru, which is kind of cool. Like, the process wasn't actually that bad. Like, you just sign up for it, and I was able to get an appointment like the next morning because Monday I was feeling like garbage. I was actually going to try to go on Monday afternoon, but they didn't have anything open. So I went Tuesday morning, and you never have to leave your car. You just pull up in the CVS pharmacy drive-thru, and they like give you a little baggie with the swab in it. But and then
so you self-swab?
You self-swab, yeah.
Okay. Was it one of those brain swabs, or was it?
Yeah. And they make you push it up and then twist it for like 15 seconds, and it's like this far up, and it feels like you're tickling your fucking brain. And I just sat there and then you have to do it in the other fucking nostril, and I'm like spluttering and coughing and just like it was uncomfortable as fuck. I hated it.
Clearly, Tyler, the sideshow life is not for you.
Yeah.
No.
Jim Rose will not be returning your calls.
No. So yeah, but I mean, all other things considered, it was fairly painless, minus poking and tickling my brain. But yeah, then they just took a couple of days, 4 days. I got it actually at like 1 a.m. on Friday because I woke up from another coma, and to a little notification on that little app that they tell you to download, and they're just like, "Yep, you're corona free." So
Nice.
You have died.
If you are reading this, you are already dead.
honestly, it'd probably be a lot less stressful than going through what we are right now.
Yeah, right.
If it was that, like, oh shit, I'm dead, I probably wouldn't be that disappointed.
As long as they threw in some coupons for like funeral director services and shit like that.
Yeah, great. I mean, it is CVS. They just toss it in the bag with it, and you are dead. Here's discount cremation.
With giant receipt.
My friends and family get 10% off for the next week.
Buy the plot, you get the coffin free.
Yeah.
What is more expensive, the plot or the coffin?
I think the plot, because it's like owning land. Like some people leave plots for like as part of their inheritance and shit. Like it's expensive.
I will say it now and put it in the public record. I don't want to be buried. I don't want a plot of land to be taken up by my dead body. I either want to be cremated. I either want to be cremated or I want to be. Have you seen the? And this is old. I don't even know if it's something that like actually happened or if it's something that's even still offered or what. But the whole like have your ashes planted with a tree thing.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I think they still do that.
I want that.
I want to be able to die enough to flex any way that I want with my death. But if I die with my current means, then I want to be cremated and have my ashes scattered in the Pacific. But if I'm rich, then my body's getting launched into fucking space.
When you said die enough, I'm like, are there different levels of dying? I'm not sufficiently dead yet.
Well, I mean, considering we're all of us,
and it is the little death.
We're all a little dead inside.
That's true. I'm not dead yet. I think I'll go for a walk.
So some stuff has happened this week, some game releases. The only one of which I took part in was yet another release of Burnout Paradise Remastered for the Nintendo Switch.
I need to get it. But
it's not like that game sucks, so.
It is an extremely good game, though I do miss, the old Burnouts like Burnout Takedown and stuff like that. And I even miss Burnout Crash, the Xbox arcade title, Burnout Crash, where it's like top-down cartoony graphics, and you have to. It's the entire. I can't remember what the game mode was, but where it's intersections. Where you have to crash and cause as much monetary damage as humanly possible. They just arcadified that specific thing.
Oh, crisscross crash.
It might have just been called Crash Mode, but yeah.
It was just called Crash Mode.
It was awesome with aftertouch takedowns and shit. But yeah.
That game was better than it had any right to be, and I'm so happy with it. I love that. Like, even on like the Xbox with Burnout 3, like I remember my mind being blown by how beautiful the Crash graphics look.
Yeah, dude. The crumple physics are real nice.
Like, it was gorgeous, and I was on the original Xbox.
Yep. And it has aged well. Like, you can play Burnout 3. You can play, I think there are 2 or 3 different Burnouts that you can play that have backwards compatibility on the Xbox One. And they hold up, man. They're such great games. But Paradise, especially this remaster on the Switch, like, I looked up the tech specs. In handheld mode, it's running 720p. In docked mode, it's 1080p. In both cases, it's running a smooth 60 frames per second. And it looks great. There are a couple of instances of like aliasing and stuff like that, but only in like sections that are meant to be blurry or whatever. It looks a little chonk, but like aside from that, gameplay is super smooth. It's got like all the DLC packs and everything. It's the full bundle, and it's just great to be able to play that game on a mobile device now.
That's
dope. Yeah,
oh, sorry, go ahead, Brooke.
Oh, no, you're good. I was gonna say the one like game one kind of game I don't have in my library right now I don't have a good racing game or any kind of stuff like that, and I probably should just pick. I've been trying to think about like trying to pick up like a Burnout title or something like that. I don't even know. That's how long ago. The last racing game I was good at was Sega GT 2002. All right.
You need to, since with the PS4, you need to get Burnout Paradise, because Burnout Paradise Remastered is available for PS4, and
play on 360,
and Wipeout.
Wipeout, yeah. Wipeout's one of those titles that I keep meaning to pick up, but I always get distracted by like, a shiny other game. And, yeah.
Wipeout is one of my favorite racing series of all time. It's so good. And the version that came out on PS3 is outstanding. The version that came out on PlayStation Vita, that was a launch title for PlayStation Vita 2048, is outstanding.
Didn't we also play the VR one?
Yep.
That
is that game. That is that game. Oh, okay. Yeah.
That was
I almost got sick playing that.
Yeah.
That was great.
Yeah, that one is a lot of fun.
Speaking of Switch remasters, I picked up Final Fantasy X and X-2 a while back, the X-2 remaster. But my Switch micro SD card corrupted, so I hadn't really been able to play it. So I finally bought a new SD chip, and I started playing it. God, that game holds up. I'm playing 10, right now, and I remember loving it when I was younger. It's still amazing, and the graphics look pretty cool. And I was telling you guys over on Switch on our chat where just what's his name does Waka's voice?
John DiMaggio.
John DiMaggio, thank you. I kept on wanting to say Paul Giamatti.
You don't even realize it until like the second someone says John DiMaggio does that voice, and you listen to the voice, you go, "Oh yeah, of course that's John DiMaggio."
Oh yeah, and then you can't not hear it.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Then you sit there and you're like, God, stop talking to me, John DiMaggio.
I remember enjoying 10 ultimately overall when it came out, but I also remember being really sick of, like, it was the beginning of the hand holding in the Final Fantasy series. Because it feels like probably the first 2 to 5 hours of that game are tutorial.
Yeah.
And it was the first time that it happened because you didn't have that 9 or 8 or 7 or any of that. And it was kind of their first step to appeal to a wider audience, I guess. But man, that frustrated the hell out of me when I was younger. And then it only got worse. By the time 13 came out, it was like, oh, the game gets really good after the first 40 hours. I don't have that time.
To be fair, there were a lot of kind of semi-complex things in 10 at the beginning. Like how Blitzball worked wasn't exactly very intuitive. And then
nor was it necessary for the progression of the game.
You can shut your damn mouth. Blitzball's amazing. If there was a fictional sport and I wasn't contractually obligated to say Quidditch that I could make real, it would be...
Look, you contractually obligated to make that.
Because I'm a Harry Potter kid, okay, Brooks?
It's unfortunate that your Lord and Savior is a turf.
Yeah, I would prefer to play a fictional sport that didn't, suppress an entire group of people with their terrible words.
I would too.
Okay. Real quick, guys. Like, so you said not Quidditch. If you had to pick a fictional sport from something that you've played, what would it be?
Chocobo racing.
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about right there. Yeah. I would pick Speedball because there was that terrible game, Speedball 20 something, that came out on the PlayStation that I got, and it was one of those titles that you just kind of have around. And when I ran out of other things to play, I actually got good at it. So,
if I'm being real, probably Rocket League. Actually,
ooh, Rocket League would be cool. It would have to be remote control, though. You couldn't be in those fucking things.
Sounds like a coward.
No, you just re-sleeve into a disposable crash test dummy body and go out there and wreak havoc.
So it's altered. So you'd want
they look like the crash test dummies from that show.
Exactly.
You'd want that to be real in the world that Altered Carbon lives in.
Well, no, and I mean, let's not forget that destruction derbies are a real thing.
True.
Mm-hmm.
So it's possible to reinforce a vehicle to the point where your safety is nearly guaranteed, enough to go full force into a giant ball and hit it into a goal.
City folks just don't get it.
Of course, there were other notable releases, one other very notable release this week of The Last of Us 2.
I like it so far. I bought it. I've only played like 3 to 4 hours. It's gorgeous. It is just beautiful. And there's like such a little attention to detail, like, because a lot of the game is scavenging and stuff. And like, because if you've played the game, obviously it's a world where there aren't a lot of resources.
Sure.
So you kind of need to manage your ammo pretty well, and you're kind of searching around and like building things and whatnot, in addition to the survival horror aspect of it. But like, there's just little many details that you walk over and you see something you want to pick up and you hit triangle, and it's not like a lot of games where you know, you kind of they either kind of do that reaching at motion and then and grab it kind of thing, or it just disappears and gets into your inventory. Like your character reaches at the thing from the angle that you're. So if you're up in front, slightly in front of it, your character like kind of like reach behind, grab it, and put it into like a little slip in their pocket.
That's actually kind of creepy. Like, can you imagine if you walked around going, "Oh, whoops, I wanted to pick that up."
I am playing.
Well, it doesn't look as weird. It's not like it's not that much of a thing. Like I really notice it a lot when you're like kind of like looking around a corner and there's like something that you're looking at, like a one of the clickers or one of the zombie things that you're kind of looking at, and like your character always kind of cues in on it. And the thing was like kind of like right here, and you can kind of see it. So she kind of like moves back just a little bit and grabs it and slips it into her pocket while she's still kind of like looking at the clicker. So it was kind of a cool little mini detail. I thought it looked interesting. So
I still haven't beaten the first one. It's something that I have been meaning to revisit. But the footage that I've been seeing on Twitter, some people have been sharing some of the minutia, like attention to detail sorts of things on Twitter. And I remember, and I'm sure I've brought this up on the podcast before, but I remember back in the day when Metal Gear Solid 2 came out, and they're like, look, in this part, there's a bar, and if you shoot at the glass with ice in it, you knock the ice out, and the ice cubes that are closer together melt slower than the ice cubes that are not grouped together. And that was like, holy shit, attention to detail. But I'm seeing, like I saw a video of someone picking up, it looked like a power cable to a generator or something like that they had to use. And it's kind of rope physics. And so they, pull up the rope and they've kind of got the bundle and then they can toss it. And they're right next to this building with these big open windows. And they toss it in the window and then go back in and pick up that end again and then kind of toss it back out. And you can see where it's all wrapped around and they give it a tug, and you can watch it at its origin get tighter when you give it a tug along the full line. Like, it's an incredible level of detail. And for it to achieve that without any clipping is insane. And then there was another video of a character taking their shirt off, like lifting their arms up, taking their shirt straight off. No clipping in the cloth whatsoever. And that's weird. These things, I mean, it sucks that what Naughty Dog does in order to achieve these things is intense crunch. But these are genuine, like, granted, it may not mean much, to the layman, like looking at this thing or whatever, but these are like genuine, huge achievements.
Yeah, and like even reflections, there's light source reflections and all of this shit where you just see it's just like these little things that just draw you into the world just like that, just a little bit. And I feel like one thing that a lot of that, like honestly, we talk a lot about is these details and how beautiful the game was. I think that was something that the first one had too when it first came out, and also something that Red Dead Redemption had when it came out. And it's just like, okay, but where's the game? Yeah. So far as playing this, it's smooth. It feels fun. I'm enjoying, like, each little fight's a puzzle, and like I'm like, okay, I have to go around here and kind of draw. You can pick up a class. I mean, it's a lot of the stuff that you could do in the first one, pick up a class and throw it and cause a distraction. But it all just feels a lot tighter, and it feels a lot more fun. It doesn't feel like, here's the story, and then little bits of gameplay in between. There's a lot more. It feels a little bit more game-ish than it did in the first one, at least for me anyway. And I'm enjoying it a lot more in terms of just playing it. Obviously, I haven't looked into the story details and everything that people are apparently chimping out about and review bombing.
I was just going to bring that up. From the only way that I've been hearing about it is through the Hard Drive Hangout. And no one seems to be able to succinctly describe what the controversy is. There seems to be some anti-trans plot points, and they're basically like someone is misgendered repeatedly, and that becomes like a plight of their character or something like that. And I saw someone describe the first 15 hours are a lead up to 15 hours of disappointment.
Interesting.
So you'll have to keep us posted on how that pans out for you as you progress further. I'm sure I'll play it eventually, but
yeah, I know a lot of people were pissed off that Ellie's gay.
Yeah, which is fucking dumb.
Yeah.
Like, whatever.
Yeah,
it's something that they could have gotten pissed off about at E3 2 years ago. Who gives a shit?
A whole bunch of incels that are disappointed that they can't fuck Ellie.
I can't produce sexually viable fantasies about a character that doesn't exist anymore.
God.
This is bullshit.
Yeah.
Fucking stupid.
Whatever.
Yeah.
But I'm enjoying it. I am so far. I'm again not very far in, haven't gotten to the disappointing plot points, but I mean also a lot of big publications have given it solid scores. So maybe it's just one of those games you're going to love or you're going to hate.
Yeah, the critic reception seems pretty high. So
I assumed, like, because I read a lot of those at the beginning of the current Last of Us 2 controversy and stuff like that. I read a couple of things talking about the plot, and I was like, okay, whatever. But I figured that if I didn't like the game, it wouldn't be because it didn't play well, because it looked like they were really doing good. It would, for me, it would just be entirely based on the story, and like I just don't care enough to
sure.
Be like, this game is gonna suck, and just be like, this is what a weird story. Neat. So
yeah,
I'll
play it when it's
I can't imagine that it's going to be bad or regarded as bad or anything like that. It's a AAA title that provides a cinematic experience.
Mm-hmm.
And some people are just not going to enjoy plot points. I mean, if you don't like the story, you're not going to like the story. Like, it doesn't make it a bad story. One of the few things that I read with a little bit was with Kotaku, and it just sounded like the reviewer seemed uncomfortable a lot of the game. And I kind of tried to skim it as much so I didn't get any spoilers or anything. But from what I was gleaning from it, it was just like, it was a game that just makes you uncomfortable the entire time. And I'm like, that's what Last of Us is. That entire game, the whole first game, you never feel happy. It's a sad game.
Yeah, it's humanity, the disappointment.
You want a happy Naughty Dog game? Go play Drake.
Exactly.
Uncharted, yeah.
Uncharted.
Yeah. I don't know, but
Unfarted.
Yeah, like so not when it comes to like Naughty Dog, because like I've played they did Crash Bandicoot and stuff, right?
Yep.
Yeah, so like I was familiar with some of their earlier titles, but not really what they've been up to recently and stuff. And so I watched my roommate play through all 4 Uncharted games in like the span of 2 weeks.
They're great.
Yeah, they do movie games really well. I think that in the future, if there's a dope movie coming out and they feel the need, we got to make a video game out of this, then they should just hand that to Naughty Dog and be like, yo, take this movie and make it into a game.
Yeah, maybe. I think it fully depends on what the movie is.
Sleepless in Seattle 2.
They may be good at providing a cinematic experience, but not all movies are.
Oh yeah. Naughty Dog presents the Royal Tenenbaums.
I firmly believe that Insomniac should hold the Spider-Man IP forever.
Oh yeah, 100%. But to be fair, that's not really I wouldn't say it's a movie game, No,
not necessarily, but we are definitely going to continue seeing Spider-Man movies. And if we do see a game branch off, as we have in the past, from a Spider-Man movie property, it needs to stay with Insomniac. It absolutely needs to stay with Insomniac.
No, 100% true. You notice how that kind of movie game packaging has gone the way of the dinosaurs? Where like in the past, when we were like in the 90s, 2000s, I feel like there'd be a big AAA movie that come out, and almost every time there was a video game that packaged, like if it was a comic book or like an action movie, there were so many like game tie-ins that were always rushed to make sure it gets there as the movie came out and whatnot.
Does an example being Spider-Man 2.
Does LJN still exist? Let's see. LJN was dissolved in 95. In 2018, the brand name was revived for the production of wrestling action figures.
Oh no! It begins again.
Yeah, but they're just making action figures.
For now.
Instead of shitty fucking movie games. Oh my god. But yeah, they were acquired by Acclaim. Then dissolved, and then apparently brought back to life in 2018 to make wrestling figures.
The toys that made us.
Because true evil never dies.
Yeah, right.
It's only reborn.
Why won't you stay dead?
Yeah, I feel like we have seen fewer movie-based games, and the quality has improved, I think.
Yeah, I would say.
I remember there was that Chronicles of Riddick game that was really great.
Yeah,
Butcher Bay. Escape from Butcher Bay.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
And then there was that I think it was a Way Forward title, The Mummy, which had absolutely nothing to do with the Tom Cruise shitty-ass movie, but the game was fucking outstanding.
I can't tell you the last time I've gone out of my way to play a movie-based game, now that I think about it.
I remember the games that I loved, and Escape from Butcher Bay, and then the Lord of the Rings tie-in games from PS2.
Which, I mean, and the Lord of the Rings games that have been coming out for the past, 20 years, some of them have been movie-based and some of them have been book-based.
Mm-hmm. True. But a lot of them have also been new properties, like the Shadow of Mordor series is kind of its own thing.
So good.
So good. Amazing. And then they're also making a Gollum game coming up here, which I don't know what that's going to be like.
But then we've also got that Avengers game coming out that has none of the movie Avengers in it. Or rather, it has the movie Avengers, just not the actors portraying them. Like, they're not even remotely modeled after the actors who are portraying them.
They're all like the comic book version.
I wouldn't even say that. Like, they don't, none of them look recognizable to me. Of course, it's been a while since I picked up any of those comics, but they just feel weird.
Even then, like Tony Stark has looked like Tony Stark for the last 30 years.
Yeah, and Robert Downey Jr. looks like Tony Stark.
That's just kind of, they got really lucky. When they I remember when back in 2008 when that movie came out in 2008, right?
The first Iron Man?
Yes, that sounds right.
9, 8. I remember I'd been waiting for that movie for, at that point, half of my life, for 9 years, because I read in the Disney Adventure magazine that I got in like 1998 or 1999 that was like, in the year 2003, Marvel Studios will be producing the Iron Man film. And then it just kept getting pushed back, and I lost all hope. And then my dad calls me into over to his computer, and he's like, "Hey, I want to show you something." I was like, "What are you talking about?" And he pulls up the teaser for it. I fucking flip my shit. I was just like, "Oh my god, Robert Downey Jr. is Iron Man." Yeah. Okay, yeah. So,
I don't know. It's going to be weird. The new Avengers game is going to be weird.
I forgot that they were making this. I'm looking at the images now, and I remember now. Yeah, it looks weird.
It's one of those titles that, like, I'm curious to see if it's going to be any good, but I wouldn't pay full price for it.
I think a reputable studio is producing that, right?
Rent it from Redbox.
Crystal Dynamics is doing that.
So is it going to be like it's a narrative-based action-adventure game?
Yeah, it'll be interesting. I mean, it's not to say that can't be done, because Fuck, what the hell is the name of the top-down beat-em-up or the isometric beat-em-up that...
Yeah. Marvel Ultimate? Or something like that? Ultimate
Alliance. None of those are based on the, movie looks or anything like that, and those have done well.
Yeah, I wonder if there's another X-Men Legends game, because it was the same. It was the same system, just with X-Men instead of other Marvel characters.
Actually, I think it started. I think it started with X-Men.
I think it did too.
Because I know a bunch of people who worked on those games. Because it was developed at Raven Software in Madison, Wisconsin. And Raven Software, most famous for making Soldier of Fortune back in the day, where you could actually shoot the limbs off of your enemies. And that was a big deal in 1997.
Madison is for lovers.
And then they became an Activision subsidiary and got put in charge of the X-Men Legend stuff. And then they basically just became a Call of Duty DLC producer, and that's it.
Oh, lame.
Yeah.
Boo.
Because Activision.
Boo. I was so pissed, by the way, that on the PSP version of X-Men Legends 2, the exclusive character on there was Cable. I was pissed. Like I wasn't gonna buy a PSP to play as him, and so I never got to. I never finished the game.
I really thought you were a fan, but
yeah, what the hell?
I played it later. It still sucked. It was still a shitty port.
It's just surprising. I'm looking at this list on Wikipedia of games based on video game or based on movies, and there have been a few more than I thought.
Games based on video games. Crash Bandicoot, the game.
They made a Frozen movie.
Pac-Man.
They made an Iron Man 3 official game in 2013.
Well, yeah, of course there would be a Frozen video game. And Disney
I forgot they made
a
Mad Max game too.
Tons of video games. And that Mad Max one came before Fury Road, if I remember correctly, and it was great.
Yeah, I heard that one was really good.
I don't remember. I never played that. Was it any good?
It was outstanding.
It like a title I could pick up?
Yes.
I heard it was really good.
It was very good.
They made a movie adventure.
So is it kind of its own thing, or is it drawing from the old movies?
I honestly can't remember the story very well, but I don't think that there's I don't think you run into any familiar characters or anything, if I remember correctly. Okay. It's more the setting and things like that. And you get to build your car for the apocalypse and all that kind of shit.
Yeah.
It's
then I'll have to give it a shot.
And it's open world. It's legitimately very, very cool.
All right.
Wow, yeah. So looking at presumably looking at the same list that you are, Tyler, and the most recent one is 2017.
Yeah. Planet of the Apes: Last Frontier.
Yeah.
Weird. Yeah, actually, there hasn't been a lot really recently, unless this list hasn't been updated recently.
It's possible the list hasn't been updated recently. And it's funny that Ratchet and Clank is on here, because that Ratchet and Clank 2016 video game is based on the Ratchet and Clank movie, which is based on Ratchet and Clank the video game.
I forgot that there was
games based on games, okay?
Well, it's like Street Fighter the movie, the game. Remember that?
Yes.
Shitty digitized graphics.
So bad.
Yeah, it looked really awful.
Oh man.
But I will say most of these movie-based games are Lego games.
Lego and Disney.
Lego and Disney. So
yeah.
There was a Kick-Ass 2 game. I don't remember that.
That's got to be a mobile game.
Or bad.
Probably both. No, Xbox 360.
Xbox 360.
Yeah, Xbox 360 and PlayStation 3 and Linux.
Oh, the Warriors. The Warriors had a movie.
Oh, yeah. But that was a Rockstar game. That was. I never played it, but I heard great things about it.
I remember the X-Play review of it. Actually, they made a whole joke about it because the whole thing was like, "What?" Come out and play.
Wait, I sorted this by release year. This is definitely. Oh no, I just hit back. Okay, never mind. I was like, how the fuck did 15 Top Gun games come out within the same time period to show up right next to each other on this list? That's insane.
They decided to flood the market. They saw Rock Band and Guitar Hero and were like, you know what? That seems like a good idea.
Yeah, we need Top Gun.
This Kick-Ass game looks awful.
There's a Short Circuit video game?
What?
Really? When did that come out?
It was for the Commodore 64 and the ZX Spectrum and the Amstrad CPC, done by Ocean Software.
Oh, Ocean did that? No, it might be good. It could be good. It's probably not going to be good.
Yeah.
I mean, Steve Gutenberg is in that film, so...
You leave Police Academy out of this. Short Circuit.
No, I went to watch that movie somewhat recently, and I was horrified to find out that my brain had completely erased all the memory of the guy doing brown face the entire movie.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah. Fuck, what's his name? He's such a great actor too.
Yeah,
And he's got such a unique name.
Yeah, it's not Bobcat Goldthwait.
No.
Justin Trudeau?
No. What?
Nope, that's
Fisher Stevens.
Yes.
Fisher Stevens is great. Fisher Stevens is the Plague in Hackers. He's a great character actor, and it sucks that he's doing an Indian impersonation throughout the entirety of Short Circuit.
Yeah, I mean, I still want to get that tattoo though of punked out Johnny Five.
Oh hell yeah!
I wanted to get one of those for a really long time.
Short Circuit consists of two gameplay modes, both in which the player takes control of Number 5. In the first portion, Number 5 must wander through numerous rooms in the robotics facility and try to escape. From computers, the player downloads software that allows Number 5 to jump, shoot a laser to stun guards, and search for items which must be used to escape. The player must also locate instructions for how to build a decoy robot later in the game. The second portion is a side-scrolling game in which Number 5 must evade security guards and other robots while running through Countryland. Animals are encountered on Number 5's path, and he must avoid running into them. Aww. Otherwise, he feels remorse for harming the wildlife and will eventually shut himself down if it occurs often enough. Likewise, the player must be careful not to kill the guards with Number 5's laser. The player wins the game by reaching a van and building the decoy robot.
Wait. So he'll die if he accidentally runs into an animal, but the whole point is to shoot as many guards as possible.
No, actually, it says likewise. Likewise, the player must be careful not to kill the guards with Number 5's laser. Because you can stun them with the laser, but apparently, if you overdo it, you can kill them with the laser.
It sounds like a great game to shitpost with.
Yeah, I'm really good at the Short Circuit video game on the What if you guys watch my YouTube channel, Johnny Five Alive? Oh man, I'm sure that probably exists. Actually, I shouldn't be promoting someone.
Yeah,
we should definitely do a shitty movie game here with Topless Robot.
The YouTube channel that you didn't know existed, that you just promoted, is nothing but making apologies for Fisher Stevens' brown face.
Yeah. Well, I guess we have to do that now.
See, I didn't realize that was Fisher Stevens. I haven't seen that movie in so long.
It's not like it will always have a warm place in my heart for Saturday mornings when I'd bother my mom to go down to the mini mart to rent some tapes. You know, and it's just Short Circuit, the Goonies were always there, and so we just got those all the time.
You know, a movie from the same era that I feel often gets overlooked in the Nostalgia Bowl, you know, like people look back fondly on Short Circuit. It's not without its fan base, the very vocal fan base. And there are plenty of other sci-fi films from the same era that have huge followings that you'll hear about these movies all the time. But
The Last Starfighter.
yeah, that's certainly one of them. But who's out there singing the praises of Batteries Not Included?
I love that movie.
Batteries Not Included.
Batteries Not Included is great.
But no one ever talks about it.
We're talking about it now. We're making internet history.
Guess. But I feel like the fandom for Batteries Not Included gets overshadowed by a lot of the, other sci-fi films that came out in the same, around the same time.
I think maybe it's because, like, Short Circuit, hell, like The Last Starfighter, stuff like that. I feel like those might be more quotable than Batteries Not Included.
Yeah, probably.
I remember liking Batteries Not Included a lot.
I love Batteries Not Included.
I only vaguely remember like a few scenes from it,
And Batteries Not Included is like super relevant today. In the, like, if I remember correctly, the plot is basically aliens save, slum building from being torn down, and they're like, if I remember correctly, some slumlord is like trying to burn down this building, and with all the residents in it, and force a fire and shit, and the aliens save them because they cared for them.
That's right.
I mean, it's propaganda.
It's been a long time since I've seen it, but that's.
They should be pulling themselves up by the bootstraps, not letting aliens, aka socialism, save them.
Oh God, Lord.
Oh man,
Good Lord.
Yeah, I haven't watched that in a minute though. I should probably give that a watch sometime.
Yeah, I wonder if it's streaming anywhere.
I'll probably have to rent it on Amazon. Well, I don't know. Like Amazon Prime Video's pretty good at just kind of having the random cult stuff up there like that. Like I think UHF is free this month, and
apparently, if you have a Cinemax subscription, Batteries Not Included is available for streaming with your Cinemax subscription right now.
Oh, gotta get that Skinamax.
Man,
or a cable descrambler.
And I don't recognize any of these actors except for Frank McRae, who was in a ton of things. He was in Red Dawn. He was in Last Action Hero. He was in Rocky 2. He was in National Lampoon's Vacation, 48 Hours, 1941, National Lampoon's Loaded Weapon 1, all kinds of shit.
Hume Cronin was in Cocoon.
Oh man, I remember Cocoon.
Yeah,
I haven't seen that. I don't know. If I've actually seen that one.
Jessica Tandy was driving Miss Daisy. She was the.
Yep.
Oh shit! We can talk about movies the entire time because Dan isn't here.
So Cocoon is another Steve Guttenberg movie. And it has Wilford Brimley in it.
Is it the follow-up to Don't Tell Her It's Me?
And it's directed by Ron Howard. And it's about a bunch of old people and alien cocoons.
Gross. Sounds cool. So it's Ron Howard. Is it? Do you remember if it's like PG-13 or is it R?
PG-13.
Okay, cool.
And apparently it is not available for rent or purchase anywhere. It is not available for streaming at all. So your only hopes in watching it is to find some download source or buy tangible media.
Yeah, I might.
Here at Topless Robot, do not support pirating DVDs at all.
No, but Usenet does still exist.
Usenet.
Use it.
Blah blah blah.
So,
speaking of movies, I watched Moonlight last night for the first time. I was so sad. It was
oh yes,
was that the one? The best.
The
picture
one best picture. Yeah.
Best picture winner.
Yeah. It was. It won Best Picture over La La Land.
But La La Land.
La La Land.
Okay.
Yeah, La La Land got announced.
It was really fucking good though. It was really fucking sad though.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
I was drinking Trulies and I'm just sitting there. I was like celebrating my not being sick anymore by getting drunk, obviously.
Obviously.
And I was just sitting there watching this movie, Three Shoots to the Wind, being like, why can't people just be allowed to be themselves, man?
Because, Tyler, that makes for poor cinema.
Also,
and apparently life.
What kind of sucks about that is if you purely want people to be allowed to be themselves, some people are Nazis.
Oh, well, I mean, my right to swing my fist ends where your nose begins, you know?
No, it is the classic argument. Intolerance of intolerance is not intolerance.
Exactly. If you're a dick, we cannot like you.
Yeah. I watched a movie this week that was called what was it? Extraordinary, I think. And
yeah, it's
Irish,
the Irish one.
Yeah, it's an
Irish.
I saw
that. That's great.
Comedy supernatural film that has Will Forte in it.
Oh! I remember seeing the trailers.
It is fucking hilarious. It is great.
Oh, Tyler, you have to see it. It's not scary. I mean, it's funny.
Yeah, it is not scary.
You have to see it because I almost just like launched into the end and talking about the end there, and I can't because I want you to see it.
Here, I'll close my ears.
No, we're not gonna do any spoilers. It just came out on streaming. We're not gonna.
Okay.
Yeah, watch it this week and get back to us next week about it.
Yeah.
Deal. I feel like we all need to have some funny movies to watch right now.
It was very, very enjoyable. Extremely, extremely entertaining.
Yes. It absolutely.
I love Will Forte so much. He's fucking hilarious and everything.
Yeah.
It doesn't even matter if the movie itself is not good. Will Forte is normally fucking hilarious.
He plays a one-hit wonder musician who has moved from America to a small town in Ireland and become a Satanist in order to further his career.
Yeah, he's like a wannabe Aleister Crowley.
Yeah. I want to see this so bad. Oh, I'm definitely watching this.
And he's not even like a huge focus of the movie. The characters that we spend the majority of the movie with are charming and entertaining and awkward and yes, it's very, very cute. I really, really enjoyed it. Really funny. And of course, today and last night, I rewatched the Cornetto trilogy.
Cornetto trilogy.
How do you not know its true name? Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, and The World's End.
Sorry. Yeah, it's been a while since I've heard anyone refer to it like that.
Yeah, I've really never heard it said that way.
It is the Cornetto trilogy, as named by Simon Pegg and Edgar Wright. It is the Cornetto trilogy because in each movie it's largely the same actors, and they mention Cornetto in each movie.
The third one is
The World's End,
right?
Yeah.
I've actually never seen World's End.
I've only seen that one.
It's the weakest of the three and maintains the weakest of the three on a rewatch, but still enjoyable to watch.
I have a really hard time picking which one is better over Hot Fuzz and Shaun of the Dead because I like them both for their own reasons. You know what I mean?
Yeah. The two really go hand in hand because, I mean, I don't know, maybe I just wasn't into, body snatchers or whatever enough in order to truly enjoy World's End because when you're watching Hot Fuzz and you're watching Shaun of the Dead, there are constant references to everything that they're taking their material from. Everything. Sean's mom's name is Barbara. And Ed says over the phone, "We're coming to get you, Barbara." They're coming to get you, Barbara. It's all just loving, beautiful homages to these genres. And like right down to fucking the chief of police and the weird dubbed lion roar when faced with fire in Hot Fuzz. I can't even remember what movie that's a reference to, but that's specifically a reference to an action film. Nick Frost's character pointing a gun at his dad as he runs away and then not being able to pull the trigger, so he points the gun straight in the air and unloads the clip, which is Point Break. Like, it's so good. Both of them are so exquisitely crafted with references across the board and even further references between the two. Because in Shaun of the Dead, when they get out of the car and they have to take a shortcut through the yards, Shaun turns to the group, goes, "What's the matter? You never taken a shortcut before?" And then promptly falls through the first fence he tries to hop. But then in Hot Fuzz, he says the exact same line and proceeds to fucking acrobat himself over each fence, and then Nick Frost's character just plows through the first fence. So there's this beautiful, like, self-referential and all of their the things that they're paying homage to, direct references in both of those, and I don't get as many in World's End. Like, maybe I just am not as well versed in the genres that they're referencing or the films that they're referencing in that. But
yeah, I also just didn't care as much about any of the characters in that one. You know what I mean? It's like I found things to relate to with the title characters of Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz and stuff like that. No problem. But third one was just like, man, I hate this guy.
Yeah.
He's stuck in the 80s in not a cool way. Like maybe your friends are right,
Yeah, right.
I still gotta watch that one though.
Yeah.
I feel bad that I haven't seen it. It's the one that I see the fewest.
It's worth
You
watching.
should still watch. There were labs.
Are they on streaming services?
World's End is not available for streaming. I mean, it is available for purchase for streaming. Like, I bought the Cornetto trilogy on Vudu. But the World's End is not just on any streaming services.
Okay.
Actually, neither are Shaun of the Dead may be on Netflix.
Shaun of the Dead and Hot Fuzz both used to be on Netflix. I don't know if they are anymore.
I know they used to be. I watched Hot Fuzz on I watched Hot Fuzz on Stars. I watched Shaun of the Dead on Cinemax.
Okay.
But yeah, I specifically looked for World's End, and yeah, looks like Shaun of the Dead is only on Cinemax right now.
Yeah, you can rent The World's End on Amazon, it looks like.
And Hot Fuzz is only on Stars right now. So
maybe I'll rent at World's End tonight. I don't know.
I think
we've been having such a hard time around here finding things that we actually want to watch. Because we've just gone through so much media that I don't know what to do.
The full Cornetto trilogy is worth owning, period. And is $20 on Vudu. So you get all three films for $20.
I quote Hot Fuzz all the time, especially when I find things on discount, as the slasher of prices.
Lock me up.
I always quote Shaun of the Dead. Wait for it all to blow over.
Yeah. God, Timothy Dalton's impalement on that is outstanding.
Oh, it's so good. I feel like Timothy Dalton always surprises me. Like, I'm always watching a movie and I'm like, I didn't know Timothy Dalton was in this.
Yeah, I feel like that's my reaction all the time. It's like, oh my God, it's Timmy D.
Where did you come from, Timmy?
What's his face from the Harry Potter movies, Filch,
is
in Hot Fuzz and in World's End.
Mm-hmm.
Is he? No. Are you sure you're not thinking of Nigel?
The caretaker for the building.
Nigel Sinclair.
Chiz, but I don't think, is he in that?
Yes. He is the, so in Hot Fuzz, when they go to the farmer's house, who actually has like a fucking sea mine and a whole bunch of weapons, the farmer is Filch.
Mm-hmm.
I totally forgot about that.
Yep. The one who says literally nothing legible, nothing intelligible whatsoever. Where they need two interpreters.
Right.
Very Cornwall.
Yes.
I totally forgot he was in that. Yeah, okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh,
And he was, I mean, you'll see whenever you get to see World's End who he is in that.
Okay. I think I might watch that tonight. I think that's I have 2 homework assignments.
what was the first one?
I actually already forgot.
Great job.
Thank you.
You may not borrow my notes.
What the hell, man? You're supposed to be recording them for me.
Tyler, you're supposed to be keeping the minutes.
So we would be remiss were we not to acknowledge K-pop stans on TikTok for the good work that they have done for Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Good job, guys.
Beautiful. Round of applause.
And I am thoroughly enjoying this developing relationship between Gen Z and millennials, where Gen Z are tearing millennials apart and millennials are cheering them on every step of the way. But it's kind of a tricky thing with, so for anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about, K-pop stans and TikTok users are taking credit for reserving seats to the Tulsa, Oklahoma Trump rally with absolutely zero intent in filling them. Meanwhile, leading up to the event, the Trump campaign was touting nearly 1 million people interested in attending. And they
200
so much so that they had planned a second speech to an overflow crowd outside of the convention center. So few people actually turned out. It was, the final number is 6,200 people. 6,200 people turned out, and so few people showed up that during his speech, the convention center staff were tearing down the overflow area because it was clear that it was not going to receive any people.
I bet that felt really good.
So I'm kind of conflicted on this, because by reserving these seats, you give the Trump campaign something to brag about, because they're, oh, look at these numbers, and it doesn't matter because they sell to overflow anyway. So they overbook over RSVP, and just let it's first come, first serve. So you're not really reserving a seat. So you're not taking a seat that would otherwise have been occupied. You're just giving them bigger numbers of interest. So theoretically, let's say that they had filled that arena, and because the arena sat 17,000? 19,000. Let's say that they filled that arena and had some overflow, which, I mean, those are crowds that he's pulled in the past. And they had these interest numbers, close to 1 million. They could easily say, though it wouldn't make it true, they could easily say, look how many people we had to turn away, and tout it as a success. So I feel like the heart's in the right place. The impact is not really felt. What do you guys think?
Yeah. I mean, I think that the Trump folks would lie anyways. You know, so even if only 60 to 100 people had showed up, you'd be like, "Yeah, we got 1 million," just because that's their style, you know.
Well, he did that anyway.
Yeah,
yeah. Look at his Twitter.
And I'm with you there. Like, you know, it's a well-intentioned effort, but you know, imagine if we took those same people and found something that would make a little bit more of an impact on the immediate future. That would be be good. So I guess it's good that all these people banded together to, you know, give our president the middle finger. If they just want to keep going, that'd be fantastic. You know?
I mean, I don't think it. I think at the end of the day, it's pretty harmless. It's kind of funny that they had to put a lot of extra work in for nothing.
What they should do is just strip all the McDonald's in every city that he goes to, so there aren't, you know, he can't get a Big Mac.
Just put in mass orders of Big Mac.
Yeah, buying a shit ton of McDonald's, and so they're just out of stuff.
All the fast food restaurants around fucking Tulsa, Oklahoma, just sold out. That'd be amazing.
That would be pretty
honestly
funny.
One of my favorite developments from the whole thing, there's someone who's in the running for Senate. She responded to a tweet about it from Cortez, saying like, "Oh, Cortez had said like, oh hey, thanks our K-pop fans for making this hilarious." And then the governor, who's obviously, or the senator and running, who's obviously conservative, replied, "So what you're saying is you asked the North and South Korea population for help in a political thing," and everyone's just replying, "You're an idiot. They're K-pop fans in fucking the United States." She didn't think, and also it's K-pop. It's South Korean, not North Korean. Yeah. You're fucking dumbass.
You know, if that were true, if you know they were somehow able to get all Koreans in on this, wouldn't that just be such an amazing diplomatic feat that we just kind of not care?
Well, so what's actually kind of scary, speaking of the Korean conflict, you know that meeting building that they have that's kind of on a neutral line between the two countries where they can go in and meet. I'm kind of worried that this hasn't been more widespread news, but North Korea bombed that like last week.
They bombed it?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. I was under the last I also checked up on it, at that point North Korea was just not talking to South Korea.
Yeah, no, North Korea blew it up in the middle of the night, if I recall correctly, either last week or the week before.
Well, knowing North Korea's history with trying to flex hard to get more concessions, I don't know if this is them trying to get more out of their relationship with South Korea or what's going on there, but it is concerning for sure.
Yeah.
I tend to go along with what you're saying there, Books. They're crying for fucking attention again.
Yeah, well, they need it. They need it, you know, and I don't think they're going to. I think them nuking South Korea will be the last thing they do, because I mean they're right across the street, you know, so it's going to bite them in the ass.
Yeah.
And if they nuke, they're going to get a whole bunch of other people on their ass as well.
Well, what's interesting, though, is their closest ally is China. So
and China has a history of not supporting everything that they do. I mean,
sure,
which is good for China. good for China, but if China speaks out and starts in disapproval, then I'm pretty sure things will calm down a bit.
Yeah.
Since North Korea needs them as well.
Yeah, this has been we're completely unqualified to talk about politics portion of the podcast. Though
we know
still
so much.
more
I read
qualified
books.
to talk about politics than your racist uncle.
I would venture to say your dog is probably more qualified too.
And now's as good a time as any to remind everyone that protests are not over. I'm going to put that link back up, blacklivesmatters.carrd.co. Believe it or not, Black lives still matter. So,
What?
Huh? So please, if you're not taking part in protests, think about donating to bail funds. Think about donating to any form of the cause. At that link, you will find a number of different ways that you can contribute to the Black Lives Matter movement. And I mean, as much as I hate the phrase because it's overused so frequently, be on the right side of history, because that's just what this is. It genuinely is what it comes down to. History has shown us time and time again that if you are being prejudiced against a group of people, you are wrong. And just to see it all continue, no one's cracked a history book. No one's learned from not only our past, but the world's past. And hopefully it's really looking like some real, genuine change is happening in a lot of these places. And it makes me very happy to see.
I want to remind everyone who is taking part in this, and this is going to be the interesting chapter in the history books moving forward. So you really want to be on the good side of history here, because people are going to know if you're not, because this is the part of class people got to pay attention to.
Yeah.
And if you're out there and you're protesting and things like that, make sure you take pictures and try to write down your personal feelings about how you felt that day, because this is something that I feel like we're going to be talking about for a very long time.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's been amazing and heartwarming in a lot of ways to see it all unfold. I know that my heart was warmed when the entirety of the Atlanta Police Department walked out on their jobs because they weren't allowed to murder. So long.
Oh, we're upset.
Where's my
Where's my
Willy Wonka react? No, wait, don't.
No,
don't stop.
Yeah.
There's no earthly way of knowing.
Yeah. If anything, police actions throughout this entire ordeal has really, really shown where their priorities lie. And it is with themselves and their brotherhood, and nowhere else. It is not with us. It is not with the populace. Seattle just signed a declaration or it's some sort of thing mandating that their crowd control techniques that they have been using are forbidden now.
Ooh, Colorado got rid of qualified immunity.
Yes. Yep.
Which that's kind of crazy.
Yep.
And speaking of change.
Yeah. There have been many, many points of positive change in all this. And it's a good start, but we're not there yet. And these protests are going to go on as long as they have to. So,
which is awesome.
Yeah. So
I love it.
Keep on.
Be safe. Everyone who is going to protests, wear masks.
Wear masks, social distance as best as you can. And fortunately, what we're seeing out of Seattle is that only 1% of Seattle protesters are testing positive for coronavirus. So it seems that the combination of being outdoors instead of in a confined space, socially distancing when possible, and the amount of masks that protesters are wearing. Because, surprise, surprise, the people who are fighting for social justice tend to also believe science. So you're more often than not seeing a majority of masked people in these protests. And if you want any better argument for masks working, I don't know one.
And they're great for hiding your face.
Yeah, with all the facial recognition shit that's going down, which is always fun. I think another good argument for mask wearing, I mean, let's look at Arizona, which has had the laxest rules on mask wearing in most of the United States. And guess who is numero uno in terms of new fucking cases?
Yep. And
we're the best.
Our governor had previously removed the abilities for local mayors and local governments to instill their own emergency laws. So even mayors were powerless. Like, mayors wanted to enact facial, covering mandates and things like that. But they were unable to because that right had been stripped from them by an executive order from Ducey, who walked it back this week and still wouldn't mandate face masks himself, said that it was best handled by the government closest to its people. And pretty much right away, Tempe mandated face masks, Mesa mandated face masks. Chandler did not initially, but eventually caved. Phoenix mandated face masks. Gilbert did as well, which was met with severe backlash from its populace.
I was so surprised, considering the assholery of the people that live in Gilbert.
Yeah.
And the general age of the population living in Gilbert.
There's like a known white hate group in Gilbert, so I'm not surprised in the slightest.
And then the county, Maricopa County, declared face masks mandatory. So that was a good move. Local government has their wits about them, drastically greater than fucking our governor.
Scottsdale.
It's like they care just a little bit more.
Did you guys see that Scottsdale councilman setting up protests against masks in Scottsdale now?
Yep.
People are fucking stupid. Stop being babies. It's a goddamn mask. Like,
I hate to badmouth a member of my family, but here goes. A family member of mine, because this was right before the cities were like, "Yo, wear a fucking mask. It's on paper now." I was talking with them about this whole thing. I was like, "Yeah, I think that Ducey should be like, yeah, wear a mask. Just do it." And they were like, "Well, that's just the beginning of them taking away our freedoms. And first it's you have to wear a mask when you're out in public, and then next it'll be I can't wear a shirt that says Jesus saves on it." And it's just like,
that's not how that works.
No, it's a protection device.
Yeah.
Know?
So
it's not I don't wear the I want to be in fashion.
Let me guess, he thinks that marijuana is a gateway drug too.
No.
Because that's the same kind of bullshit argument of like exponential, ramping up of some, thing that they perceive as negative. It didn't happen.
Slope fallacy.
Yes, the slippery slope fallacy. It certainly didn't go, to that place when seatbelts were mandated. So
first they'll make me wear seatbelts, and next thing you know, they're gonna put me in cages.
Yeah. God.
Yeah, but like sometimes, sometimes the arguments that people have about things make sense. But I'm noticing most of the arguments about things right now are just kind of dumb.
Yeah.
It's like not even like exciting to talk about and engage with people. It's mostly just frustration of like, I can't believe you don't get this yet. Like, come on, man. So,
A lot of those conversations are just non-starters. You're just, as soon as you see that, you're like, man, I'm never going to be able to talk to you, am I?
Yeah, no, I mean, fortunately, I'll never have to have that conversation in person because I am not going out into a place where I would have to speak to someone who doesn't want to wear a mask. But I do the online equivalent of walking away from a person the second that they say anything anti-mask at this point. It's like, look, the argument's been made. Worst case for yourself, you've made yourself uncomfortable. If you're right, masks do nothing, then the worst thing that you've done is made yourself uncomfortable. If you're wrong and masks do save people from catching coronavirus, you have killed people.
I just think it makes sense that even if these masks weren't mandated, I still want to wear it because I care about the other people in my community, and
yep,
it's kind of bullshit that there's so many people out there that are just like so angry that they're like being forced to help other people out.
It's so weird. This is a new political line being drawn. It never.
And strictly speaking, it's not a new political line because apparently in the 1912 pandemic, it was the same.
Wow.
So Americans are spoiled.
It's made a political line now because of statements from Trump that say where he says, I don't think they're wearing masks to protect themselves from COVID. I think they're doing it because they're against me.
Why not both?
¿Por qué no los dos? Yeah. It's a weird, fucked up world that we've found ourselves in. And I can only hope that, and expect, honestly, that on the other side of this, everything is going to be better than they ever were. They have to be. It's
not really much of a choice at this point.
Now's a great opportunity to just rethink the way we're fucking doing a lot of things. And it can really change everyone's lives for the better. Of course.
Hell yeah.
Times of change are never comfortable.
Yep.
That's it.
But we have actually a while back now gotten to the end of the podcast. I want to ask you guys what has been the highlight. I mean, Tyler hasn't had much of a week, but still, I'm sure there's a highlight. We failed to talk about your low light of last week, Artemis Fowl. But
oh yeah,
oh no, was it bad?
Oh, it's awful. It is so bad. It was like they tried to make it bad, and they succeeded in that. It was
yeah. I've heard nothing but terrible things. So, what's been the highlight of each of your weeks? Considering, I'm sure Tyler's highlight was being able to be up and about and conscious and cogent again. Yeah. So let's start with you, Brooks.
Well, not a whole lot happened this week. But so I mentioned that I accidentally continued my subscription to that Star Trek.
Yeah.
Stuff. So they finally came in. And it is just, this is exactly what I've wanted since I was a child. The detail of these models and stuff like that. And I was very, very happy to get them. So
nice.
that might be the highlight of my week.
Hell yeah.
Besides the obvious of coming back to life yesterday and kind of partying it up, I got a cool thing that came in the mail. So hold on 1 second.
I'm the one that shows things, Tyler.
Steal your thing. Coming back. I got this fucking awesome display.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh.
And I've got so in between sleeping and more sleeping, I had a few things come in the mail this week. So now I'm finally getting my room all set up with the Doctor Who shit. So I'm feeling more decorated and like I live in this house. It only took me 4 years.
Nice.
But yeah, so I'm pretty happy with that. Other than that, like I said, waking up yesterday and not feeling sick was nice. So I drank a lot.
Well, obviously, of course. Yeah. For me, it was I put out another video on the Blue Basis channel, and so it's something that I'm keeping up. And this one was really personal to me because so my stepdad is an incredible singer songwriter, and I've loved his music for as long as I've known him, which is a majority of my life at this point. And so before I moved out here, I recorded, like I had some of my recording gear on me, and because I used to work at Apple, I had all the Apple, recording software, all their pro software, because I got it for free because I worked for Apple. And so with the cheap setup that I had before I left, like I spent some time at my mom and stepdad's house, and I wanted to record some of his songs. And so I got it set up and got, decent enough recordings to work with, but I've never really gotten around to working with them until I started work on this about a month and a half ago. And I picked his song Dream Dream, which is one of my favorite songs of his. And so for Father's Day, I did kind of an audio workup on it to make it a more complete track, or at least tried. I'm not a producer by any means, or an audio engineer. I don't really know what I'm doing. I just kind of poked and prodded at things until it sounded nice and fuller, and added a bass line to it, wrote a bass line for it. And I put that video out for him for Father's Day. So
how dare you be so fucking thoughtful?
Yeah, stop being so fucking wholesome, Ryan. Jesus. We're scum of the earth on this podcast.
Overall, especially considering I don't really know exactly what I'm doing when it comes to like mixing audio, like mixing music and stuff like that. I'm actually really proud of how it came out, and it's pretty good. So
how dare you step on? I'm the wholesome one, you son of a bitch.
Oh yeah, shit! I'm the asshole. I forgot about that. Cool. Well, with that, we will leave it there. Thank you, everyone, for watching and/or listening. We'll see you next week.
Here we are at the end of our Topless Robot podcast again, and we're here to do the Topless Robot podcast unboxing special we have at the end of each episode. And today, I have an interesting item. It is imported from, I think he said it was Tibet, maybe, or it might be Nepalese, but let's take a look and see what's inside. I've already kind of opened the box a little bit just to make this a little easier and a little more fun. And fucking subscribe, asshole!